to talk politics and current affairs. My name is Olmo Hefe Peace Osemere, and this morning we're going to be looking at a very topical issue that borders on corruption and accountability and perhaps transparency, if you like. And I will be having this conversation with a rights activist and public affairs analyst who is joining us live via telephone this morning, Comrade Gerald Okachi. Good morning to you, Comrade. Thank you so much for joining us.
A very good morning to you and to our wonderful listeners.
Very well then. Just yesterday, the ICPC, that is the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, issued a stern warning to local government officials, emphasizing that undermining the Supreme Court's judgment on local government autonomy will attract severe penalties, including jail time. Now, this warning comes on the heels of the Supreme Court's judgment, which granted local government autonomy and prohibited state governments from tampering with local government funds. Now, the ICPC chairman stressed that breaching the Supreme Court's decision is a gross misconduct and abuse of office, emphasizing that the ICPC will pursue anyone who violates the court's judgment, ensuring that local government funds are used for the benefit of the people rather than being embezzled by corrupt officials. Now, takeaways, from this, warning coming from the ICPC would be one. You take a look at the local government autonomy and the Supreme Court's judgment on this autonomy. As you know, it aims to provide state government, or prevent rather state government from tampering with local government funds. And then the ICPC warning itself, warning local government officials that stealing local government funds will lead to jail time, and also investigations, as we've been made to understand that the ICPC has been investigating alleged malpractices in local government areas, and there are some very disturbing findings. But Comrade Kachi, first of all, I really do not know what your initial reaction was when you saw the story or when you heard it. Let's hear from you.
Oh, yes. ICPC giving warning, whether it's last warning or first warning or whatever the one may put it, right, is a good one. But then, checkmating local government funds and allocation is not only the statutory work of ICPC. There are other agencies of government that are also there that are supposed to do check and balances, right, or follow up local government funds or allocation, as the case may be, and they include Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and then you have in some states, like every state always have ministries of local government and chieftaincy affairs. Then you also have EFCC there, that is Economic and Financial Crime Commission.
Right.
These are some of the agencies of government that, do the work that ICPC is doing. And then in some states you have these Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, and then Joint Account Allocation Committee, which is the bedrock of the judgment that the Tinubu-led administration got last year with regards to autonomy to local governments. I think, honestly speaking, other agencies I mentioned should follow suit and support what ICPC, because ICPC alone cannot effectively checkmate 704 local governments and they fully, bring them to, books if any local government head. And if you recall or follow what has happened that has happened after the Supreme Court judgment as of last year, you see many states conducting local government elections, and even those elections, one can attribute to it that it's not up to even the rate that you see with INEC. Any state that is being governed by a particular party will sweep all the local government elections. Notwithstanding, they have gone ahead with the state assembly to see how they can bypass the Supreme Court judgment with regards to autonomy to local government. In some states, for example, like Anambra, I know that the Soludole-led administration coerced, in conjunction with the state assembly, to enact a law that makes it mandatory for all local government authorities to remit 70% that comes to them within 24 a maximum hour or 48 hours once they receive allocation every month, to remit 70% of it to what they claimed as a joint account aimed at.
Are you there?
So, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes. So, if you look at all of this, you see that each state is trying hard to see how they can lay hand on the funds of the local government by passing Supreme Court's autonomy, judgment with regards to autonomy to the local government. So, I expect Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice and even Tinubu-led administration to see how they can come together to avert this looming danger. Because if a fund is sent to a local government, for example, and a state governor through the instrumentality of the state assembly force them to remit 70% of whatever that has been sent to them as their statutory allocation, and they are left with 30% to work with. And maybe agency like ICPC or any other agency that follows up the, funds like EFCC goes to them. They can easily rely on whatever laws enacted by the state, to defend their actions. And what that simply means, we'll continue to see more poor education in the primary levels. You continue to see local governments avoiding engaging in maintenance of road, bridges, drainages. You continue to see even local governments going tough on people. That is, in form of levy and taxes collection. It will become exploitation and extortion to the point of using tax, because they will begin to devise means to generate funds on their own. You understand? You begin to see parks, public areas, being, harassed with regards to local government agencies trying to generate funds for themselves. You understand? So I think we need to, the National Assembly, together with the executive at the national level, that's the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, should come together, possibly look at this judgment if it requires to go back for interpretation, or possibly National Assembly making it clear that on no ground should any local government in Nigeria engage in any joint venture with the state government, which they are using to siphon, because you see the kind of kangaroo election they are conducting, and that is what makes it much more easier for state governors to lay hand on the funds of the local government. If maybe agencies, organizations like Independent National Electoral Commission are the ones conducting the election, you will see that this kind of kangaroo elections you see at the state will not be there. You will see some parties winning local government election, and it will make it difficult for state governors to impose or, use a subtle or, deceitful way to lay hands on the funds of the local government. At least there will be resistance from political parties that are different, just like you have at the state assembly, where many state assemblies in Nigeria have different parties represented at the assembly, where issues, ideas, innovations can be argued to, a constructive level. But at the local government, that is not the case.
All right.
So I think not just ICPC, other agencies should wake up and join the efforts of ICPC to see that check and balances is followed with regards to funds of the local government.
Okay. Now, the judgment that was actually delivered, last year, talking about the local government autonomy, one is just wondering at this point in time if it has been complied with.
I didn't get the question.
Yes, has that judgment, has it been complied with? Talking about the local government autonomy, and whether or not funds should be paid directly to local government as opposed to going through the state government.
Funds going to the local government is the work of the federal government to do. And as at last 2 months, I know that they still pay to that joint account, which in one of our programs here in Ego FM, we have, lamented, call on the federal government to desist from continuing paying into the accounts of the joint. But I think as the last month, they made a publication of the local government that receive whatever they receive. So I think to a certain level, up to 70-75% of the judgment has been implemented with regards to, conducting election, because what we have in the past is that governors will come, they will appoint administrators or caretaker committee or acting, whatever, every one of them have name they call them, to man local government. Mm-hmm. And what it makes is that most of the local governments in Nigeria, as at then, doesn't have a bite or effect of expectations that people expect them to do at the local level. What they normally do is that once allocation comes, sometimes some governors that have a human face will release some funds for them to pay local government. The one that doesn't have human face, that are there for extortion and exploitation, will just use all the whole money. The local government, and sometimes you will not see him in office for a complete calendar month. Some will come once, some will come twice. But with this Supreme Court judgment, we have seen them conduct election, meaning that over 90% of local governments in Nigeria are no longer under acting or appointment capacity. They are perceived to be elected, meaning that they will run a tenure. That is on one side. The other side of the implementation is the fund, the independence of the local governments. Are they truly independent? The answer is no. They are perceived to be independent, but they are not. So, in implementing the Supreme Court judgment, we think there's no perfect judgment, there's no perfect arrangement. I think with this lapses we are seeing now, we expect the federal government of Nigeria, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who initiated this independence and autonomy, to go back and see those areas that the state government are using to, subvert the judgment in form of claiming that they are implemented, but at the end of the day, it becomes 6.5 dozen. To see how they can cover those areas and to see that the aims of the Supreme Court judgment is achieved, which is full autonomy to the local government.
But Comrade Kachi, no doubt, local government autonomy in Nigeria is indeed very important, in terms of fostering effective governance at the grassroots level. But would you say that at the grassroots level, the local communities are empowered enough to participate in the decision-making process, by way of also holding into account these local government officials that would be saddled with the responsibility of managing funds at the grassroots level, when eventually, implemented to the letter?
Yes, some local governments are doing well enough with regards to, meeting up to expectation, reaching out, doing works that are human capital based, that touch life. Like you can talk of Tafa local government in Kaduna. The local government chairman there is doing his best. You can talk of, I think that guy, Tafa, covered that guy, Uraka. But in FCT here, I must say, in some local government, especially in Buhari area council,
local council areas, you mean?
Yes, it's something else. In the sense that in Buhari, for example, that's where I live. There's a particular road they have done for more than 3 years. A road that is not up to 3 kilometers. From the T junction to the camp, army checkpoint. They have done that road for more than 3 years. And it has become a death trap that there's no way people do not get injured, especially those that make use of motorbike, that is Okada. Once it's rain, people start falling on that road. When it's not rain, people that are selling there fall different kinds of sickness because of the dust. So you ask yourself, what does it take to do a road? A single lane road They cannot claim that their money is being seized by the governor or say, okay, the SCT minister. No. Their monies are given to them. And in this area council, this is a case study. There's no time, education time, that you don't see LEA teachers going on strike. The time that's supposed to cover, say, 12 weeks, 13 weeks, as the case may be. You see them going on strike to more than 6 weeks of that particular time. It's uncalled for. In fact, in the last time that they just finished, about last week ago, thereabouts, they were on a strike almost a week before they, because of examination, they returned back, organized examination for pupils that they did not teach. So you begin to ask yourself, why are we exhibiting this kind of wickedness to our people? If you now decide to make use of Freedom of Information Act and request information with regard to what goes in the area council, you will not get a response. You will not get a response. So we use this kind of opportunity to create awareness, letting Nigerians know that it is the right of people to have dividends of democracy, good governance. If allocation is sent to local area council or local government, as the case may be, say for example, 300 million is sent for in a month, and the salaries and wages you are paying to local government may not be up to 70 million, and you are having over 230. What are you doing with that 230 million? These are the areas we need to do check and balances. These are the areas, organized labor, civil society organization, where many Nigerians should ask questions. What is happening?
Okay.
If we are complaining at the state level that state governors are subverting or finding a way to meander through the Supreme Court judgment, what is happening at the area level, area council level? Just if you recall, there was a time last year, the chairman of AMAC, I think Christopher did about, make a bad show of himself when he was demanding that Wike-led administration city should come and do bridges and drainages, and they don't have capacity to do that. And it was reported that even Wike answered him, you have told the public that you don't have capacity to do work, to build a drainage that is statutory for local government to build. They will decide the necessary. So things like this, if we get prepared persons to represent at the local government level, this is one of the things you see.
But at the end of the day, I'm sorry to butt you now, comrade. At the end of the day, when you look at the shortcomings or the loopholes, coming from the local government level, in a bid to ensure some sort of checks and balance, would that really be possible without some sort of involvement from the state government?
Yes, that is where we need to be honest about ourselves, and that is where this constitution amendment that is ongoing at the National Assembly, we need to do a lot of work. If local governments have full autonomy, believe you me, states will not have any other option than to possibly set up impossible committees or even throw their weight behind transparency and checkmating what is happening there. But because the state governments are also finding a way to lay hand on that particular force, they will find it difficult to do, follow up, observe, or do check and balances on the local government. Because who will follow who? When you are taking over 70% of the fund going to them, you understand? You are giving them that room to, divert whatever language you can use, because the primary of what the whole thing, whether not looting or diversion of this thief, you are giving them room to steal public's money. Because are you going to be checkmating them on the 30% you left with them, that from which they will pay local government staff, from which they will do one or two things? You understand? I think this is where we expect the National Assembly, with instrumentality of the Constitution that they are doing amendment, to ensure and make it very, very mandated that local government must be fully given full powers to operate without subversion to their funds. This is where we need it. Once that is done, believe you me, state governments will want to know what is happening at local governments. And again, we should change this system where state governments set up their electoral committees that conduct local government elections in their states. No. We should find a way to make it a federal agency where either INEC should be the one to conduct local government elections in Nigeria, or create another agency to do that from the federal level, so that it will give room and the fairness to other political parties to participate fully. Because what we see at the state level is just mere or kangaroo elections where states, other parties will just be there just to fulfill all right, to know fully well that no matter how they campaign, they can never win.
All right. Well,
it's not that people that are the ones that will elect those ones they announce there, but the governors will find a way to write those results.
Comrade, whether or not these local government chairmen are going to be elected or appointed, the fact remains that they are all affiliated to one political party or the other. So you do not see some sort of interference coming in that regard.
Well, as of today, in Nigeria, what we are seeing today as a nation is that we have built strong individuals rather than institutions. If maybe our political parties have ideologies and they have what it takes, to question any policy that anti-people, policies of the state government or local government that is against people, without being afraid of consequences from the parties, from the governors or whoever that is leading them at the state. It will make a lot of sense. It will make parties to ensure that whatever is in their manifestos is being carried out. But what we have today is strong individuals. That is why at the local level, a governor can decide who will be a candidate in every local government. If they don't like your face, you will not be there. They may even decide to do primaries. At a point, they will not decide consensus. They will decide whoever they want to go there. And that is why you normally see incompetent people ending up becoming local government chairmen or councillors. It's because their loyalty is to the person that nominates them, rather than to the people or constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Their loyalty will be to whoever that put them there, whatever they are asked to do, even if it's against the will of the people, even if it goes contrary to our laws like ICPC and EFCC acts, they will easily do it, preparing for the consequences, believing that whoever that put them there will find a way to, you saw what happened. I'm using that Anambra as a case study. Last year, they conducted their local government election. One of the persons that was declared as a winner went to, I think, US for vacation to enjoy being elected as the local government chairman. He was arrested and he's still there to date for cyber crimes and what have you, which normally many people call Yahoo Yahoo. So if they have strong institutions like the political parties have wherewithal to decide, believe you me, I don't think that the person would have made it to the primaries, because the screening committee would have been honest in doing their job. But as of today, they may set up screening committee just to fulfill all righteousness. But screening committee cannot identify fake results. They cannot go to antecedent of aspirants. Even if they know that one is criminal, once you are able to present money and it is reported that it's the governor that is sending you, or you are a boy to the governor, or you are governor A, B, C, or D, you will get through. So we need to strengthen our institutions and not individuals, and that will help to put check and balances with regard to local government administration.
All right, and talking about institutions, the ICPC is actually one, agency or institution, if you like, talking about the fight against corruption. But what actually baffles one is the fact that this warning from the ICPC might not indeed have a bite on corruption, be it at the federal, the state, or the local government level. But we'll go pay some bills now, comrade. When we come back, the conversation will continue. And to the listener on the other side of the radio, please do well to share your thoughts with us already. Leave a comment or a message on the WhatsApp portal on 090-9705-4450. And when we return from the commercial timeout, you would call in to share your 2 cents on this very topical issue. We will be right back after this break. Do join us again.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Please listen to this announcement. Members of 51 regular course set of Nigerian Defense Academy marking their 25 years in service. Team 51 regular course at 25, strengthening unity by rekindling camaraderie to safeguard the future. Special guest of honor, General C.G. Musa, Chief of Defense Staff. Major activities: launch of group life insurance policy for the course, honoring of our deceased course-mates and our instructors from Nigerian Defense Academy, health awareness lectures and sports competitions. Date: Saturday, 5th April 2025. Time: 6 p.m. prompt. Venue: Armed Forces Officers Mess, Asokoro, Abuja. Announcer: Colonel A.O. Gwento, Chairman, Organizing Committee, 51 Regular Course.
Sorry for the inconvenience. I suppose it was inevitable. Eagles 102.3.
Right, welcome back from that break. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Eagles Outlook live on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. And on the show this morning, we are looking at the stern warning issued by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, that's the ICPC, to local government officials, emphasizing that undermining the Supreme Court's judgment on local government autonomy will attract severe penalties, including jail time. Now, this warning is coming on the heels of the Supreme Court's judgment, which granted local government autonomy and prohibited state government from tampering with local government funds. This has, of course, sparked reactions, views, and counter views already trailing it as to whether or not this would indeed have a bite on the fight against corruption across, all the tiers of government. And I've been speaking with rights activist and public affairs analyst, Comrade Gerald Okachi. But at this point in time, we'd like you to share your 2 cents on this topic of discussion this morning on the show. You can now call us on 0908-766-8888 or 0907-353-0044. You can as well join the conversation live on YouTube and Facebook. Leave a comment and we'll be more than glad to acknowledge your thought. What do you make of this development and the stern warning from the ICPC? Can it indeed, deal decisively with corrupt practices across, now we're not looking at the state government now, the federal, but the local government, all right, because the Supreme Court judgment has actually affirmed some sort of autonomy for the local government, thereby prohibiting state government from tampering with local government funds. And we've also seen relevant stakeholders, very notable Nigerians, come out to share their 2 cents. For example, the human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, on Wednesday, as a matter of fact, said the Supreme Court went off track in granting the federal government's request for local government autonomy. And according to him, the Supreme Court amended the 1999 Constitution to grant the local government autonomy request in order to please the executive. Now, that actually speaks volumes. And he has, however, criticized the government for even failing to obey the judgment, alleging that it actually demonstrates President Bola Tinubu's government's attitude of picking and choosing which court judgment to obey. And from some other quarters, we've also seen some stakeholders applaud this local government autonomy. Now, even in Adamawa State, we've seen the chairman of one local government area there, giving the federal government a pat in the back, for this local government autonomy. As far as they are concerned, this would actually bring about, developmental strides, even at the grassroots level. But do you agree that there is some sort of corruption, at the grassroots level, and perhaps this local government autonomy would even aid it further? Now, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this contribution from Samuel from Kuje. Says, greetings to you. Please, I want to ask: are we still having the 3 tiers of government? And if we are, can't the local government organize the elections without the governors interfering with the local government elections? What is the interest of governors in the local government funds that they are so much interested in controlling their funds? The local government areas should be given full autonomy and should be allowed to operate without interference from any quarter so that we know who to hold responsible for any failure. I rest my case. It says, Samuel, thank you for that message, right? But at the end of the day, really, because my guest actually said something about ensuring checks and balances, here and there. But can that really be possible without some interference from the state government? And who is going to ensure that monitoring and evaluation in the long run? Are we leaving that to the Accountant General of the Federation to decide? Or is it the CBN that will be deciding that, or it is the people at the grassroots level that will be deciding that at the end of the day? And talking about the locals at the grassroots level, do you think they are well enlightened enough? They have the right information and wherewithal to maybe engage this local government chairman, especially when they perceive some sort of corruption going on in the system? That is actually one maybe bottleneck that would surface just in the long run, but we're not sure of that now. But these are just some questions, pertinent questions, one would say, that we actually need to get answers to if possible. And in a bid to ensure transparency and accountability, do you really think that this local government autonomy would bring about some transparency and accountability, especially when some Nigerians are of the school of thought that state governors should actually stay clear of the conduct of elections at a local government level or local area councils? So these are the issues, really. Let's hear from you what your thoughts are. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Hello, are you there? Good morning to you. Well, all right. You might just call back, all right? And the numbers are 0907-353-0044 or 0908-766-8888. Send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal on 0909-705-44 and 50. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Yes. Yes, please. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, Felix from Lambata.
Good to have you, Felix.
Thank you very much. You see, guests have spoken very well, and I greet him. But it remains that though autonomy has been granted, there are still need for some enabling law,
right,
to make this autonomy stable in the various local governments, because the state governors are not done with this local government yet. They still have access to the instrumentality of the state assembly to see pass laws that can pose an impediment the local government enjoying this autonomy. That's why we are saying that the federal government has done there. They still need to do more by passing enabling laws that will really guarantee and assure the local people autonomy of their local government. Because the local government is the last tier of government that is closer to the people. And the only way the people can benefit from the government of the day is through the local government, then upwards. But where the local government is in the firm grip of the governors and they are stooges of the governors, they will, of course, definitely do the biddings of the governors, not the biddings of the people, thereby subverting the good intention of the federal government by granting them autonomy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Felix, for that contribution. And Another message from Turkey Mihundu says, good morning. I greet your guest and I'm listening from Nasarawa State. Local government is very close to the people. If only the factors hindering it from functioning can be removed, our people will feel the impact of democracy, and easy to hold local government chairmen accountable and ask questions, because it is a government that is very close to the people. However, money is never enough for governors, and the governors will do anything to hang on to local government funds. Worrisome too is the kind of shady election conducted. The governors simply select their boys and girls and call it election. Aside hanging on local government funds, governors see local government chairmen as a major structure to help rig elections. Now, that's why for Rivers, governor is fighting to have his boys still control the local government, while the governor continue to be his, I don't know. But Turkey Mihudu, thank you for that message. However, the local government election conducted in River State, we understand, has been nullified, looking at the court judgment the other time. All right. So that is really not going to hold water in the long run. But again, we're asking whether or not the stern warning from the ICPC would indeed have a bite or any bite on perceived corruption at the local government, level in Nigeria. 090735300044 or 09087668888 are the numbers to call. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you, Omofe.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. I remain my humble self, Omotayo, reaching you from Galadima from this morning.
Good to have you, Omotayo. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. All protocols duly observed. Very quickly, you see, I want to say this, and I've said it before, and I like saying it again, and I will continue to say it until something is done about it, because if nothing is done about it, we'll just be going around the same circles, trying to patch the problem here and there, which will not solve the problem. We need to change that thing completely. We need to address it from the root, and that thing is what? The institution that fight against corruption in offices. Look, man, no, there is nothing you will do if you give local chief autonomy and give him funds to take care of his people. Man, you will find the same complaining steering over and over again. Nothing will improve. The truth is, why do these people get into office, whether local government, whether chief, whether governor, and don't do anything for it? Almost nothing. You give them 100%, they use maybe 10, 12% for the people, and pocket the remaining 90% or 88%. Why do you think like that? The truth is, the institution that fights against corruption is completely dead. This is what we should be clamoring for. This is what we should be insisting that they come alive, just like the ICPC threat now. Look, man, we will fight that the ICPC becomes independent, a body that is appointed, that its head is appointed and not voted for. His mandate, this person cannot be recalled except he that appointed such person. So, man, the truth is, whether local government autonomy or not, need to insist that the body that fights against corruption in office, that balance you after your days in office, to see what you did right and what you did wrong, how you expended this money, how much went to the people or to the right cause, and how much did it go. Then you have to pay that one didn't go, pay it back by confiscating all your property.
Right.
Assets, exactly. And then sending you to jail equally. Because you can't confiscate and then you are living a free life, some that you hide abroad and overseas, you will not be there to enjoy it. No, you have to spend probably part of your life in jail, maybe half of your life, your remaining life in jail. That is why we can now see politicians running away from offices when they know that what they are going there to do is the right thing.
Okay.
They will run away from going to, if not, otherwise, we'll be wasting our time, ma. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Omotayo, for your contribution. Comrade Gerard Okachi is on the line. Thank you so much for staying with us, comrade.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, so apparently the show today is an abridged one. I mean, I didn't mention that to you earlier. So let's quickly get your submission, maybe in a minute, 30 seconds, if that is possible.
I think it's well known fact that local government chairmen and their councillors, do not have immunity. meaning that if anything goes wrong, they can be picked, they can be called for questioning. You understand? I think, just like we have glamored, let the good intentions of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration with regards to autonomy to local governments should be fully implemented. They should devise means to interpret it. Encourage the constitution amendment at the National Assembly to see that it gives bite to full autonomy to local government, so that no matter whatever joint project or whatever the states can use to subvert that cannot hold water. It's either state government do their thing or local government do their thing, not this joint venture that they always use to siphon or lay hand on the funds of the local government. Having said that, I think it's time we begin to look at creating institutions that organize and conduct local government elections, not the ones that states do. It will also help in this check and balances that we are pushing for. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for that submission, Comrade Gerald. And we really do appreciate the fact that you always oblige us whenever we call on you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Comrade Gerald Okachi is a right activist and public affairs analyst. And together, we've been discussing a very topical issue that borders on ensuring accountability and transparency, and also how best we can indeed deal with corruption and maybe eradicate it. But this is a developing story as far as we're concerned, and we probably would come back to this issue in the days to come. My name is Omoefe Piso-Semere, and I'd like to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you who called in to contribute on the show. The calls we cannot take, apologies as well. And the views expressed, most importantly, were not influenced by Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. Good morning.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Africa.